Happening now, we break down the renewed push seeking peace officer status for the Chautauqua Institution Police Department, this following a violent attack on a world-renowned author last week. And we hear from one of the GOP candidates seeking your vote this week in the race for New York's 23rd congressional seat, plus a look at local holistic energy healers who are giving a free demonstration this weekend. Our Alyssa Wright finding her inner zen next.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now. This is WNY News Now with live breaking news.
Thank you for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. Those stories and more are coming up, but first we start with breaking news. 2 men are in police custody following a reported shooting overnight here in Jamestown. It happened just before 12:30 in the morning today when officers with Jamestown Police responded to 810 Washington Street for a reported gunshot complaint. There, they detained a male suspect who has been identified as 35-year-old Joshua Hammer at the scene. An investigation revealed that Hammer allegedly fired 1 round from a handgun at an occupied vehicle that was parked in the driveway front of that house there. Now, after obtaining a search warrant for that residence, police say they recovered the handgun involved, as well as a set of brass knuckles. Furthermore, 42-year-old Larry Whitehill Jr., you see here pictured, was arrested on a warrant out of Jamestown City Court. Now, both were taken to Jamestown City Jail, where they have now been held pending arraignment in this case. No injuries were reported as a result of that shooting. And after an attack on a world-renowned author, Salman Rushdie, at the Chautauqua Institution, many are seeking a long-term security solution for the cultural center. Since the fateful attack, those with the institution have increased their security presence at the gated community. However, some state lawmakers feel that's not enough. In years prior, Assemblyman Andy Goodell and Senator George Borrello have sponsored legislation that would give peace officer status to the Chautauqua Institution Police Department. The Assemblyman says this would allow security to make arrests, carry a weapon, and overall be more efficient. While the legislation has never made it past the governor's desk, Goodell urges the current administration in Albany to take action now.
That legislation passed the Senate and the Assembly a couple of years in a row and was vetoed by former Governor Andrew Cuomo. We're urging Governor Hochul to call a special session or to at least, at a minimum, include that legislation in the budget so that we can avoid the kind of situations we just experienced. It's nice that Governor Hochul comes and makes a political speech in front of a handful of people on Sunday, joining all of us here in Chautauqua County in condemning the recent attack. It'd be even better if she put those words into action and support our legislation to give peace officer status to the officers at Chautauqua Institution.
Now, during Governor Kathy Hochul's visit on Sunday, she did announce that New York State Police and the County Sheriff's Office are working together to step up security through the end of the season there. In the end, Assemblyman Andy Goodell believes officially swearing in the institution's officers would be a good long-term fix. And an update on some changes there at the Chautauqua Institution after the on-stage stabbing of Mr. Rushdie that had a ripple effect around the world. Lectures and events have resumed, although increased security measures, as we mentioned, are now in place, with some changes meant to keep visitors safe without upending life along the lake. Ethan Kibbe with our news partner WNY News Now has a deeper look.
A typical Monday at the Chautauqua Institution. A delight for longtime visitor Denise Collins.
I was thrilled. It was a wonderful experience. I'm glad to be back. I'm wanting to take pictures to send to my daughter.
She learned of Friday's attack while driving to Chautauqua from North Carolina and says she didn't know what to expect when she arrived.
It was pretty shocking. I mean, we were just floored about the whole situation. I just was speechless because we were on our way up here when we heard about the news. So anyway, we wondered what was going to happen and if things were going to be canceled, and I was glad they weren't.
Why would this be?
But as speakers deliver lectures and visitors watch and learn, life at the institution is different, and changes are being made in the wake of Friday's attack on Salman Rushdie.
We've made some changes in consultation with experts and with law enforcement. We've absolutely made some changes to our protocols, and we're continuing to look at everything to see what sorts of things need to stick around forever.
Senior Vice President Emily Morris says increasing security is a delicate balancing act. Safety is crucial, but it's not easy to make changes without altering the relaxing way of life along the lake.
Certainly we are very concerned about the environment, but the top priority is patron safety and the security of the location. And so if we have to do some things that make things a little more apparent, we're not afraid to do that.
As security is strengthened, healing begins as a bastion of higher learning returns to what it does best.
There's trauma here, and it's hard, but it's important to get back to normal as much as possible and to do what we exist to do.
Ethan Kibbe, Erie News Now.
Ethan, thank you. If you visit the institution, you'll notice some changes. You'll likely see more law enforcement officials, and you're no longer going to be allowed to bring bags into the amphitheater. Officials say most of the other security changes are behind the scenes, meant to protect visitors without them even knowing about these security measures. And Pennsylvania State Police are looking for a missing man who escaped the Warren State Hospital. 24-year-old Jordan Minkus walked away from the facility around 2:30 Monday afternoon. Minkus, who has a court-ordered patient at the hospital, climbed over the fence and took off towards the Warren Commons, where he then fled into the woods behind the Lowe's there. Police say that facility employees and a state police helicopter were unable to locate him. Minkus is described as 6'2", 175 pounds, pretty lengthy and clean-shaved, with a possible disability with his right arm. He was last seen wearing blue jeans, a tan shirt, tan hoodie, and tennis shoes. He's not considered armed or dangerous. Anyone with information in this case asked to contact state police there in Warren. The number is 814-728-3600. And 2 arrests have been made in connection with an early morning burglary in the Asheville area. Deputies with the Chautauqua County Sheriff's Office were called to a residence on Watts Flats Road around 4 a.m. Monday for a reported burglary in progress. When deputies arrived on scene, they observed 2 suspects fleeing that house. The duo, later identified as 23-year-old Cora Waddington and 26-year-old Devin Fuller, then ran into a nearby creek in an alleged attempt to flee. The 2 were later arrested and allegedly found with stolen property from the home there. Waddington and Fuller were subsequently charged with burglary and grand larceny, as well as obstructing governmental administration. And a group of volunteers have raised over $31,000 to help fund asbestos cleanup within a new women's shelter here in Jamestown. Earlier this month, those with the Ascension Leadership Academy stepped up to help offset abatement costs for the UCAN City Mission here in downtown Jamestown. In total, 18 volunteers raised $31,013 in 20 days. Officials say the donations come at a critical time. UCAN City Mission is the only homeless shelter here in Chautauqua County, and there's an urgent need for expansion. When complete, the new shelter would provide 85 beds specifically for women and children, helping them escape unsafe motels with crime, drugs, and sex trafficking. Now, once an abatement company is hired, construction expected to resume within a month or so. That full project slated to be complete in early 2024. Well, now let's switch gears a little bit and get a first check of our weather forecast with a live look over Findlay Lake here in Chautauqua County. Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter now joining us in studio, and we had to dodge a couple of rain showers this morning, Dakota, and for me, I was in a bad spot. I left my rain jacket in the car. Mm-hmm. Great place for it, really.
I know. I know. You always leave your rain jacket, your umbrella. You always leave that stuff in the car, and you have to go out, and it's just kind of the way it is. But yeah, as Justin mentioned, this is a live look over Findlay Lake. You can see the gray skies over there, and you can see the rain here on First Defense Doppler along with the satellite. Again, notice how the rain is moving east to west. This has to do with a deep upper level trough that is digging right into the region, and this is actually pushing the rain kind of back backwards today, so east to west, same thing that we had yesterday. We threw that out on social media because it was very interesting to look at. So 74 was the high yesterday. We started the day at 58, 92, and 42 are the records. So through the afternoon, lots of clouds, scattered showers, a few storms, rather cool. I've knocked the high temperatures down for today because of the clouds and the rain, 66 to 75 with a north wind 7 to 14. Now we had an earthquake occur in a part of western New York this morning. We'll talk about that along with that Ultimate Satellite Solutions 7-day later in the show, Justin.
All right, Dakota, we will look forward to the breaking news on that as we continue. Additional cannabis processing license now approved here in the Empire State. Plus, with early voting underway in New York's congressional primary, we hear from one of the GOP candidates who made a stop here in Jamestown yesterday. Stay with us. WNY News Now is back right after this.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
Looking for a fair and honest auto mechanic? Look no further than DeWyas Auto Service. Located at 140 Main Street in Randolph, our family-owned business is ready for all of your automotive needs. From general service to more complex repairs, count on DeWyas Auto to keep you on the road. We not only keep your cars running smoothly, but also looking great with our expert detailing crew. Send us a message on Facebook or call us today at 716-358-2292 to set up an appointment. DeWyas Auto Service. Fair, honest, and the best prices guaranteed.
Hey ladies, are you looking for a fun night out on the town this fall? We have the event for you. Join Collaborative Children's Solutions as we celebrate the women of our community during a special Ladies Red Carpet Gala. Grab your friends and fanciest clothes for a night of dancing at the Northwest Arena in Jamestown, New York. There will be dessert and a cash bar. All proceeds directly benefit Collaborative Children's Solutions. Learn more at ccsolutions716.com.
When severe weather breaks, one team has you covered, tracking the storms as they happen. Catch your First Defense forecast daily on WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
Two convenient conservatives are on the ballot for the Republican primary for Congress. Neither live in our district. I'm Rich Moon, vying for your vote in New York's 23rd congressional race. Growing up in Erie County, I lived in Hinsdale while working as a pharmacist in Wellsville. I'm proud to have raised my kids in the Jamestown area. Keep your voice in Washington local. Write in Rich Moon when you vote for both the GOP primary and the special election. Write in Rich Moon for Congress.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
The New York Cannabis Control Board has approved 15 additional licenses for state businesses. These licenses are part of the state's Seeding Opportunity Initiative, in which business owners take marijuana grown by farmers and sell it at retail dispensaries. To qualify, processors must hold a cannabinoid hemp processor license issued by the Office of Cannabis Management and have applied for the license prior to January 1st. Processors must also participate in a mentorship program to help provide pathways to industry and entrepreneurship opportunities for social equity applicants and participants in environmental sustainability programs. Now, the application opened back in June. It'll close on August 31st. Applications must be reviewed and approved on a rolling basis. And all New Yorkers enrolled in SNAP benefits will receive the maximum level of their food benefits this month. This will roughly bring in about $234 million in federal funding to our economy. Those households are already near or at the maximum benefit level, which is $835 for a household of 4. which will receive a supplemental payment of at least $95. SNAP households in all counties outside of New York City should see the extra benefits post sometime between today and August 19th. New Yorkers who continue to rely on SNAP this spring, with more than 6.6 million households, including more than 2.8 million New Yorkers throughout the state, enrolled in that program by June. Now, in the past months, the payments will be delivered directly to recipients' existing electronic benefit transfer cards and can be accessed with their existing EBT cards. Well, during a campaign stop here in Jamestown, one of the GOP candidates running for New York's 23rd congressional seat doubled down on the importance of energy independence, putting American oil first as a solution to rising consumer prices. Our Bronson Rasmussen joins us live in the newsroom with continued election 2022 coverage. Bronson?
Justin, Republican Nick Langworthy held a press conference on the steps of Jamestown City Hall on Monday afternoon, where he was endorsed by both County Executive P.J. Wendell and State Assemblyman Andrew Goodell.
So I know that with a voice from Chautauqua County, that Nick will be that driving force in Washington for us.
Nick understands firsthand the challenges facing our residents here in this congressional district.
If elected, Nick Langworthy plans to set his goal on the energy crisis to mend the problems he's seen in the past few years.
I pledge on day one to fight for energy independence. American oil, American natural gas needs to be there for Americans.
He continues to say he will fight for other issues, including drug problems, agriculture issues, and inflation tolls.
We are out there fighting every day for energy independence. You know, that's what's been lost in just 2 short years. Our families, as the Assemblyman laid out, are being squeezed every single week when they go buy their groceries.
While they have similar viewpoints, Langworthy differentiates himself from his opponent, Carl Palladino, in many ways, stating that he is the best for Western New York.
I'm not going to embarrass this community, and I can't say that for my opponent. He's got a track record when people have counted on him. Many of us counted on him to carry the ball, and when he ran for governor, and he blew it, and he blew it in historic fashion. And when you had the same thing for the school board, he was supposed to fix the school boards, and he blew it. And the Buffalo City Schools suffered even more because of his behavior. That won't happen with me.
Now, Justin, Langworthy will face off against Carl Palladino in the GOP primary on Tuesday, August 23rd, with early voting continuing through Sunday. Jamestown area pharmacist Richard Moon is also running in the race via a write-in campaign. Justin, back to you.
Now, Bronson, this isn't the only election that's happening right now here in Western New York, correct?
That is correct, Justin. The winner of the GOP primary in August will take on Democratic candidate Max Delapia this fall for the full term. There's also a special election taking place for all voters in the 23rd Congressional District to fill the seat of former Congressman Tom Reed, who resigned earlier in the year, Justin.
All right, Bronson Rasmussen on the trail here in Jamestown. Bronson, thank you. 2 million baby rockers are being recalled, an important note for families. These rockers involved are the Mama Roo swings and Rockaroo rockers, both sold under the brand name 4Moms. The Consumer Product Safety Commission is behind this recall. The issue is they have restraint straps that can hang down when not in use. Children who are unable to crawl can get entangled in these straps if they crawl under that rocker. One 10-month-old has died from such an incident, another sustaining bruising around his neck. Anyone who owns one of these products can get a free strap to fasten it to keep the restraints away from crawling children. The Consumer Product Safety Commission has instructions on their website to identify the rockers involved here. Well, coming up, a look at what's happening around the nation and an update in the search of former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago home. And later, we check in with our Washington, D.C. correspondent who's breaking down a new tax and climate health bill that's going to be signed today. But first, when we return, Dakota's got more details on this rain. Stay right there.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Calling all teachers. Get your year started off right with an evening with Gary Brooks. Come see Gary as he shares his funniest school stories and strategies to build a positive school culture. Go to reginaldA.com for tickets and more information.
While I appreciate anyone who wants to run for office and help others, we deserve to be represented by a local candidate. I'm Rich Moon, running for New York's 23rd congressional seat. I grew up in Erie County, worked in Wellsville, raised my kids in Jamestown. We need to keep our voice in Washington local. There are 2 absentee opportunists on the ballot for the Republican primary. They don't actually live here. That's why I need your vote. Write in Rich Moon for Congress for both the GOP primary and special election. We deserve local representation.
Stay fire safe this summer. Only use grills outdoors, away from siding and deck railings. Clean grills often and remove grease or fat buildup. Make sure your gas grill lid is open before lighting. Have a 3-foot safe zone around grills and campfires. Keep kids and pets clear of the area. Dispose of coals after they cool in a metal can. Never leave grills, fire pits, and patio torches unattended. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov.
Brought to you by the Chautauqua Safety Village and the Jamestown Fire Department.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
Fast, accurate, and everyday. First Defense Weather.
Welcome back, everybody. Wanted to start off with an earthquake that occurred in Genesee County this morning. It occurred just to the west of Leroy, which is actually in the county of which is actually in Genesee County, and it was only a 1.2, which is very low on the Richter scale, and the depth was down to 3 miles. So, you know, earthquakes around here are not as uncommon as you might think they are. And again, you know, we've mentioned this before. We have the Claritin Linden fault system, and the fault basically runs all the way through the region. It stretches from the south shore of Lake Ontario all the way down into the eastern southern tier, and is responsible for most of the seismic activity across the region. The fault lines mainly stay quiet, but sometimes you do get those little jolts, as we had this morning out in Genesee County. And the sunset times continue to go down here, getting closer to 8 o'clock here by the time we go to next Monday. 8:07 will be the sunset time. So lots of clouds downtown right now. It's 61 at the Jamestown Airport as a noon hour. A north wind of 6, got a light rain shower reported out there as well. Dew point up to 59. And let's show you the radar and show you what's going on here. This is that batch of rain. It's actually moving east to west today, same as we had yesterday. And you'll see it on the satellite composite as well. The lines you see here is what's called the wind lines, and it kind of shows you that trough digging into the northeast. So that's the reason why the rain is moving the opposite direction today. It is due to that trough digging into the region. So notice a few more rain showers through the afternoon. We'll start to clear them out through the evening, through the overnight hours. Then by the time we go by early tomorrow morning, we'll see another redevelopment of scattered showers by tomorrow morning. The good news is those should taper off early, but I wouldn't rule out the chance of an isolated shower or storm across the eastern southern tier tomorrow afternoon. And then by the time we head into Thursday, we're ultimately going to see a mainly dry day, but there could be again a few more isolated showers to deal with. Rainfall over the next 5 days, looking at about a ½ an inch to maybe upwards of 3/4 of an inch. Some may get close to that 1 inch mark. Now the next 7 days powered by Ultimate Satellite Solutions. So Justin, the rain really keeps our temperatures down into the lower 70s, but Friday you're going to feel the sun comes back in good supply, then a storm or two Saturday, and then it looks like we're going to stay on a fairly wet pattern as we go into early next week.
Dakota, thank you. Well, here's some headlines from around the nation now. New info regarding the search of former President Donald Trump's Florida estate. Federal prosecutors now asking the judge presiding over the search of Mar-a-Lago to keep that warrants affidavit sealed. The affidavit contains investigators' reasoning for conducting the search warrant of his Palm Beach home last week. Prosecutors say they want to keep it sealed to, quote, protect the integrity of an ongoing law enforcement investigation that implicates national security. Now, the request comes after the judge unsealed the search warrant back on Friday, revealing that the FBI seized 11 boxes of classified material from the home. And Starbucks is asking for a suspension of mail-in ballots at unionizing votes currently going on at stores across the nation. The coffee chain now accusing National Labor Relations Board employees in Kansas and elsewhere of misconduct in handling these mail-in votes. It said those allegations have skewed results in favor of unionization. Starbucks said a whistleblower with the Labor Board alerted the company to the alleged misconduct. Starbucks charges that the Labor Board's employees allowed some pro-union workers to vote in person even though they were supposed to vote by mail. Starbucks alleges some workers missed the deadline to vote by mail but weren't offered the option to vote in person. And President Biden is expected to sign a massive energy and healthcare tax bill today. Democrats are celebrating this legislation, but Republicans, including some of our local reps, calling it another massive spending bill. Our Washington, D.C. correspondent Rachel Knapp with more.
Although Congress is on recess, members quickly returned to our nation's capital last week and passed the Inflation Reduction Act. This trimmed-down version of President Biden's Build Back Better legislation does a couple of things. It puts roughly $370 billion in new spending towards reducing greenhouse gas emissions, investing in clean energy technologies, and extends subsidies for the Affordable Care Act, including allowing Medicare to directly negotiate prices for prescription drugs and capping recipients' annual out-of-pocket drug costs. Democrats say the bill will bring in $300 billion in new revenue streams because it will impose a 15% tax on corporations making over $1 billion. And it also puts billions towards the deficit. While Democrats see this as a win, Republicans are slamming the bill, calling it excessive, and have doubts that this legislation will even reduce inflation. Our local congressional members, including Representatives Fred Keller, Glenn Thompson, and Mike Kelly, all voted no on the bill. In a statement, Kelly says in part, this bill is loaded with bad policy and wasteful spending that will worsen inflation, expand government, and hurt the middle class. Thompson says in part, the bill will cost taxpayers billions to fund it, and adds that it will also add 87,000 new IRS agents to target the lowest income earners in an attempt to normalize audits. On the other side of the aisle, Democrats like Senator Bob Casey call it a fiscally responsible bill. In a statement, he says in part, as families across Pennsylvania and the nation are being squeezed by inflation, Democrats are tackling this problem head on. The Inflation Reduction Act will lower health care and energy costs for families while creating well-paying jobs to transition the U.S. to clean energy and tackle the climate crisis. At the Capitol, Rachel Knapp reporting.
Rachel, thank you. The president expected to sign that act on Tuesday afternoon. Well, now from D.C. to here at home this weekend, those known as energy healers, they'll be opening up their practice to the public as part of a new event called the Spiritual Path. Our Alyssa Wright joins us in studio after setting out to find her inner Zen. Alyssa, what'd you come up with?
Well, Justin, I didn't quite find Nirvana yet, but I did connect with several in our community who hope that they can point you in the right direction. Loretta Cheney, organizer and mindfulness practitioner, has reached out to several alternative and holistic practitioners, as well as local businesses, to come together and offer a look into this alternative healing method on Saturday. So far, 14 businesses and organizations will be participating in this self-guided tour.
What the participant will do is they'll come to our page and they'll read all of the biographies that people have submitted who are participating. And then they'll be able to see where they're located, when they're located, and receiving guests, and go visit those locations.
Free to attend, the sessions promise to connect participants with a variety of practitioners, from a psychic medium to an animal communicator.
I do a number of modalities. I've been at this about 25 years. Started off with meditation and then Reiki, and then it just morphed into many things. I'm a classical homeopath as well. Most of our sessions are kind of combined, but mostly on the human. And then it's amazing how the animal just sort of relaxes and, kind of says, okay, my work here is done.
Some will be offering demonstrations for newcomers.
It's really a self-guided tour where those who have been wanting to investigate holistic, alternative modalities of energy healing.
And the premise of Angelic Reiki is that there are higher vibrational frequencies or energies that are available to us. And it's about tapping into those through archangels, ascended masters. When you're doing a Reiki session, it's not my energy. I'm just a medium for it.
While much of the offerings are emotional, some say that they can help heal physical pain as well.
Emotional freedom therapy can be used for emotional issues. It can also be used on physical pain.
The Spiritual Path will take place this Saturday, August 20th, throughout the day. Visit thespiritualpath 2022 Facebook page for times and locations. Justin and Dakota, back to you.
Right. Such a fascinating story, Alyssa. Thank you for bringing that to us. And you know, I know a lot of people out there, maybe they're non-believers or whatnot, or they wouldn't necessarily pay for or something like that. But why not give it a shot, right? Especially in that case, if you can talk to them, learn a little bit more, and who doesn't need to de-stress
Exactly.
right now, especially with the last week
Yes.
that we've had. For sure. All right, well, thank you very much. That's going to do it for us today. We'll leave you with this live look over, well, maybe not. Maybe the camera needs to de-stress over Lakeside Park there.
It broke.
Have a great day.
Oh dear.
Connecting. Connecting to the other side.